Alright, Summoners, here we go. We're on Summoner's Rift. We're going to see some Fiora gameplay, some Grave, some Shyvana, some Caitlyn, some Rammus. Now, here's the thing. Everybody on this team, myself included, makes some mistakes quite a few times. I get too ballsy. Everybody else is retarded. I have a couple moments of retardation, but it takes a while for these guys to kind of get their stuff together. Frodo keeps pinging like a madman the whole game, making us all angry, but everybody hates that. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and bump up the speed here just a little bit. Oop, that's a lot of bit. Holy cow. And we're going to try and keep an eye on quite a few things. Now, in early game, some things I want to look at is last hitting. If you're not already familiar with how last hitting works or how it can be beneficial, you're missing out. Okay, cool. That's the hotkeys for that. It's been a while since I've done this, so please forgive me. Yay. People are talking. Wonderful. It's a wonderful life. Ha ha ha. Very good. So I know early game we're going to be looking at some stuff down here. Let's go and drop the speed down. Now, if you are playing a game and you're 2v1, say you've got a solo lane and you got two people on the other team. Alright, one of the best things you can do, or even vice versa, if you're dual laning and you're fighting a solo, you know that solo is going to level exponentially faster than you because you're not splitting XP, or they're not splitting XP. So last hitting is this concept of allowing the minions to stay pushed up in this area here, tagging the enemy champion when you get the opportunity, and getting gold off the minion. But see, by not auto-attacking like crazy in here, you allow the minions to kind of fight it out themselves, and you still reap the gold. So there went 16 gold, there went 16 gold. And the way I do this is I use the A key. If you're not aware of this, just like any RTS, you don't want to click like crazy. You don't want to do a whole lot of right-clicking. That's going to, first of all, if you've ever hated auto-pathing because it made you, stumble on a minion. See how I'm tagging her? I'm trying to get her away from the experience line. See, she has to back up now. If even only for a second, it's made her nervous. You can't get near the XP quite as easy. Okay, the other thing is, even if she is able to get near the XP, she's not up here last hitting like I am. Okay, so that's pivotal. It's going to give me an advantage in most games. Now, once again, my teammate's dumb. I don't even know what he's doing back there. He could be up here helping. So some bad things happen. But hold on, where was I going with this? But anyways, so you by last hitting and allowing the minions to stay in the middle, it also keeps you from pushing too far forward, which would expose you to ganks. Now, granted, ganks can still happen back here, and I think it's going to happen a couple of times, actually, even though they don't have a jungler. But, if you're way down here fighting, alright, you've increased the distance you have to run by half, because instead of running from here to, here, from, the middle back to your tower, you have to do the full length here. So by allowing the minions to kind of stay up here, by positioning yourself behind the fighting minions, allows you to get tags off on your enemies as well. So positioning. I've always said this, but League of Legends is a game of chess first and foremost. Position is key in a lot of aspects, not just zoning. Now, I want to just point out something real fast. Now that this Graves is involved in what's going on, look how much further we're pushed up. It's because he is auto-attacking these minions. He's not allowing them to just fight it out and get the gold. He is pushing. So now, with a push like this, we are much more exposed to somebody coming down this middle path here. Okay? See, I should have paused it a second ago. But that is the concern here, and that's why I get yelled at, because I've stopped trying. You'll notice in the chat box down here, I haven't tried once to tell Graves to chill, to stop auto attacking, because what do? They yell at you. They're like, "What do you mean? You blah blah blah." They get frustrated because they don't understand why we're telling them to do the things we're telling them to do. Okay, and I think this is where I flash out. Yeah, and I'm gonna get away here. At least I should. But that's the reason. The reason you want to last hit is so that the minions stay in this area, okay? So that you're not pushed way down here, alright? So that you get the gold every time or the goal is to try and get as much gold as possible. So right now, look at this. Okay, as hard as he was pushing, okay, you saw that. He was shooting and shooting and shooting and shooting. He has 0 creep score to my 17. Okay, he is money starved. I'm sitting on 651. He's probably sitting on somewhere closer to like 200. Also worth noting, all right, Malphite started in the jungle. But look how much lower LeBlanc is. Now, LeBlanc's one of those champions that's going to get fed regardless because she's a LeBlanc and everybody hates her. But imagine if this was someone like, say, like a Teemo. Like a Teemo, okay? Teemo's a great champion, but if you don't start getting the gold quickly and staying in lane as long as possible, you're going to be in a bad spot really regardless of the champion. I mean, to be fair. I mean, if the thing, imagine LeBlanc. LeBlanc's a pain in the butt enough as it is. Imagine if she was staying on track with me with creep. She would have, you know, if you assume 15 gold per kill, she would be closer to 650 like me and able to buy her items faster. Okay? So that's why it's important to do that, especially if they have a jungler. Once again, if you're way up here, the jungler has lots of paths he can take to hurt you. I think that pretty much ends my discussion on why it's important to last hit. Let's try and get into some team fights here. We're going to just go ahead and hop right on up to... Oops, sorry y'all. Let's go ahead and... Let's see some other stuff going on. How are these guys doing? They're doing okay. Now, one thing I do want to mention real fast. Okay, because we're back down here at this fight. Okay. Oh, what was it? I just lost it. Great. Whatever. That's going to bug me because I feel like it was important. And I feel like that's also the second time I've forgotten to mention it. Anyways, let's speed it back up. Well, let's watch this fight. Because I think I die here. No, let's not watch this fight. Yeah, I die. No, I don't. Okay. Position is key. Did you see a second ago that I dodged his ult? Alright, he overshot his ultimate. Okay? And then rather than engaging, I jumped on a minion to escape. Position is key. And, you know, it's important to recognize when to flee and when to engage. I mean, and what direction to run. Sometimes running straight for your tower is not the smart choice. In this particular case, the smart choice was to run through their jungle. I remember what's about to happen. Oh, this hurts a lot. We'll watch it. We'll watch it play out. Because this is a good example of when I got tunnel vision. Here we go. Watch what happens. We actually do a lot of damage here, but look at that ult on our heads. That Karthus. I should have seen... You know, you should always be glancing at your minimap. Always, always, always be glancing at your minimap, and I should have seen him back up. If a Karthus is still alive and he's backed up, he's using his ult. Pretty good rule of thumb. Okay, so we're going to try and get a little further into the match here. That looked like a pretty good kill, whatever that was. Anyways, let's... The other thing I wanted to discuss in this particular game, even though there are some pretty cool things that happen in this particular match. I wonder, can I use... How far ahead is that skip? No, it's not really far enough. Let's do... Oh, look at that ping glitch. Oh no, I slowed it down on this. Oops. So let's get a little further into the match here. Watch me. Took Dragon at level 8. Which, by the way, if you didn't realize that Fiora is... Boom! Okay, that hurt. I remember that one too. You'll notice I have 2 wards now. We're not going to let that happen again. At least not as blatantly as it just did. Alright, so I don't really... I'm trying to get through this quickly, and it's because it's kind of a long match. but I don't like how it looks at that speed. So we're going to sacrifice time for the sake of going a little bit slower. Oh, I can't. If this is where that LeBlanc kills me, like that, the amount of damage she put out as quickly as she did annoyed the heck out of me. I think it's coming up. There it is. Boom, boom. Yeah. Oh, so much damage. Let's see what's going on up top. Oop, 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 oop. Sorry about being grayed out. Yeah. This is where we lose the tower. Yeah. Alright, so we should be getting into some team fights here in a second. So while we let this kind of do its thing, we'll just hold down the space bar. We'll watch Fiora. Some Fiora gameplay in case you haven't seen her yet. Now, I don't know if you saw this, but there's a Malphite up here. As it turns out, I'm watching. Hold on, I want to see something. Oh, man, you're going to watch. If you watch what I type here, I'm going to say something like, what the fuck? Where did I had it warded? Where did you come from, LeBlanc? And I don't know if you saw, but LeBlanc comes right through my ward. Like you can see her the entire time running to assist to help Malphite. And I just got tunnel visioned. I didn't even see her. If I had seen her, I would not have stayed for that fight. So that's a good example. This is what we're talking about. Like this game, by the way, we do end up eventually winning this match. But it's those kind of little things, you know. Like I said before, even I make mistakes, but we're highlighting them, we're finding them. I'll get better, and maybe I'll turn you onto something that you should have seen. Try not to tunnel vision. You have to remember, these are MOBA games, massively online battle arenas. These games got their start from, you know, ultimately Warcraft 3, and you know, real-time strategy games. So, what was key? If you've ever played those, what is key to those games? Position. And map control, map awareness. Those are two of the keys to those style games, and they play just as big a role in this particular game as that. So as often as possible, just like checking your mirrors in your car every couple of seconds when you're driving, check your mini-map. Because if I had not been tunneled and been able to do some macro and micro at the same time, this fight that just took place would not have gone down the way it would have, and I wouldn't be at 4 kills right now, or 4 deaths right now. I'd be at 3, if you look up here at the top. Okay? So, now before we jump into the team fights, because we're at the 20-minute mark, the team fights are already kind of starting kind of in some different areas here, so they all should be converging in the middle here soon. Let's take a look and just kind of recap where we're at, creep score and stuff like that. So, Caitlyn is doing exactly what she should be doing. She should be right there. She's got amazing sustainability. She's only died once in 20 minutes. She's only got 2 kills, but something tells me, because I've seen this match before, I'm pretty sure. Now, see, this is what's important. Look at this. Her creep score is so much higher than everybody else's. She's already sitting on a Bloodthirster and a set of boots, Berserker Greaves. Okay, but only 2-1. Her lane sustain is fantastic. The fact that she's only died once in 20 minutes has allowed her to stay in lane, and she's prioritizing last hits. Alright? And by the end of the game, she's going to be the strongest champion, and she deals out almost 300,000. I looked at the grid after the match, and she deals out almost 300,000 damage total. She's at like 291 or something like that, was the most damage she put out. Okay, so it's very important. That's why creep score is important. Now, who is creep score not important for? Rammus. Rammus, ideally, I've played games as tanks before where I've had no more than 4 or 5 minion kills, and those are usually when I play as Alistar and I've got an area of effect, and I hit one by accident. But this guy here, he should have, like, the way he's playing with these 0 kills, 4 and 3, is pretty decent. I'd like to see him have less deaths and more assists, but realistically, we have 3 kills on the team, and he has 3 assists. Or, no, excuse me. Wait a second. I looked at that completely wrong. He has 3 assists to a total of 9 kills. So, yeah, I'd like to see him be involved in more of the fights. Especially as Rammus. He can jump between lanes very quickly. The other thing with Rammus here is his items are not smart. Okay? He is a tank. He shouldn't have that many minion kills. He should be giving his minion kills to whoever he was laning with, which was Shyvana, which in hindsight was a dumb choice on all of our parts. It should have been Shyvana, me, and Graves and Rammus. It should have been some combination of that. Okay, but he needs to. He should have started with either like a Heart of Gold, or actually for sustainability, a Philosopher's Stone, and that's going to give him extra gold per second. And it's also, he also should really, I don't know what his runes are, so he very well may have this, but he should have gold quintessences, and he should have gold per second upgrades in his utility tree. And if the game is going really poorly and he's having trouble getting assists or having trouble being involved in the fights and can't get the money that he needs, you don't switch to stealing minion kills from your carries. You would pick up, a Heart of Gold and a Philosopher's Stone. And quite frankly, as Rammus, you could even pick up an Avarice Blade if you wanted to and still get the extra gold and not really be in a bad spot. Rammus does great as physical DPS anyways. You get on top of your guy, you taunt him, you start beating on him, you launch your ult, the next thing you know, you're doing a ton of damage. Okay? So, I mean, if times are tough, if you're, and that goes for, you'll notice that I do it. Right now, my next item in my build is typically a, what's the word I'm looking for? Typically a Black Cleaver. I push my Black Cleaver until much later in the game. I sit on my dagger for a little while, and I end up going and getting a Banshee's Veil because of all these damn AP champions. Look at all that AP. So go with a Banshee's Veil, and I also end up going with a Avarice Blade at some point because I'm just not getting the kills I need. And you have to get gold. And at some point in the game, especially around the 24-minute mark, you're not going to be able to spend a lot of time jumping between lanes to get creep. You're going to be able to, you can run into the jungle and get creep off the minions. If you look over here on the minimap, you can get, your jungle creep, okay, if you have time, okay, and you can get kills for gold. But other than that, you really don't have time after you get into mid or late game to go farm. So if you are starved come that point in the game, you need to get some gold per 10-second items. You just, or per 5-second items, or whatever they are. You just have to. It gets to a point where you're going to be starved and you're going to be useless. You have to build your items to the game. And you have to pay attention to what people on the other team are building. These are all AP. So I go with the Banshee's Veil. Now, had I been decimating like I had been in some of the games as Fiora early game, I probably would have skipped the Banshees. But it's not happening for me. It's not working. So you have to pick something in your build, or pick something about your gameplay during the game, and you have to address it concisely with the intention of fixing for the win. So we've got LeBlanc, who hasn't started loading up on kills yet, and we've got Katarina, who's got 4 kills and only 1 death. These guys are going to be awful, okay? Absolutely awful. So going with the Banshee's Veil was the best thing I could have done, and quite frankly, everybody should have. This guy here, going for the Aura item, which is obviously he's going for Aegis of Legion, I think it's called. I see how that's useful, and yes, it has a little bit of magic resist, but he should have gone for a Null Mantle first. Look at all that. Once again, look at all this AP. Unfortunately, like, Rammus is a champion that excels against AD champions. Now, he's a tank with a taunt, so he's going to excel, period. Just like Galio. Galio is so fantastic, but obviously he's better if you can build him magic resist. Sometimes you just gotta build, sometimes you pick Galio and you get put up against 580 champions, and it's like, well, duh. So you have to build these things smart. You have to build smart. Okay, I'm tangenting now. Actually, I'm pretty sure I've been tangenting for like the past 5 minutes here. So much for this going quickly. Alright, let's try and, I guess we'll follow along some of the gameplay until we get into some of the team fighting stuff. I am grabbing some, because there were some moments in this gameplay that really, really annoyed me. La di da di da di da. I'll try and cut out some of this so it's not so awful. Let's see here. Alright. Okay, that was the first example of what's really been bugging me here. We missed it, but we're gonna kind of watch it normal speed or. Sharon kills, gave the first one there to Graves, took the second one. But position is unbelievably important to the success. And like Malphite. Malphite is an unbelievably hard champion to kill. But Malphite's made and designed to be a brutal, like a Garen type champion. He's meant to get in, do damage, and take damage. He's not really a tank. I mean, he's got some crowd control with his slow. He's got his crowd control with his ult, which is awesome because it disrupts the fight. Okay, but it's not a Shin with his, especially the new buffed Shin that just came out. It's not a Rammus with the taunt. It's not a Mumu that locks down an entire team for like 3 seconds or whatever it is, 2 seconds. Feels like forever. Those are true tanks. Alistar, who I love and I play as a tank, is not really a true tank. If anything, he's more of a support. Just like Malphite. More of a support than a tank. But if we look here, he is building tank. And in the first few team fights that almost get us, that almost cost us the game, he is focused. And you absolutely can't do that. And you're going to see my team focusing him and causing me to die because I'm the only one fighting the squishies. But if you're the only one fighting squishies and squishies gang up on you, this is me getting. Here's an example of me getting too big for my britches, too many slows. So that it happens to the best of us. And I just and also contrary. Now, granted, I was going for a kill, not in a team fight. But in any other circumstance, if we weren't underneath that tower, I should have been on top of LeBlanc. I should have changed targets as soon as she came to vision. Once again, let's just pretend that tower wasn't there. That would have been the thing to do. Now I knew I was going to die once I saw LeBlanc. It was just try and get the kill at this point. Because I'm still sitting at 2-5. I'm feeding at this point. That's 1 kill per 5 minutes. That's feeding. All right. Don't move my cursor. Okay, so you got some. Let's see here. This looks like a fight about to brew. We're not still not quite there yet. Tips for Caitlyn. Okay, tips for Caitlyn. Check this out. Everybody on my team has an exhaust. That exhaust is up at the moment. Okay, that team fight that just happened with that Caitlyn. Why isn't she getting exhausted? You'll notice anytime I fight a Caitlyn, if my exhaust is up, you don't exhaust her immediately. The trick with her and for Tryndamere is to exhaust them when they are in their ults. You will reduce the damage they do dramatically. They will not be nearly as effective, and you'll squish them right there on the spot. Tryndamere, not the on the spot thing, but you will get the kill. If you time it right. Also with Tryndamere's, if you have poison, time it right. You time it right, you will get a tick of poison off. You'll get ticks of poison off after the fight. See, that was dumb. That was dumb, Graves. If you watch your mini map, he would have known there was 2 there. Would have known. Alright, look, everybody's going to go charging Malphite. Here we go. There's a squishy, but no, we're not going to fight that squishy. We're going to fight Malphite. See, I've jumped on him. I'm the only one there, so I'm going to get out. But look, Rammus isn't going to try and get the... Isn't going to try... You got to get past the tank. The goal is to get past the tank. Look, Caitlyn's fighting the tank. And see if you want...